MDK says hello and welcome to my tutorial for a multi-villager curing system that functions at the press of a single button. As the robot will not stop saying, at any point during this video, I am MDK. MDK says the system is designed to reduce the downtime while curing villagers if you're attempting to cure them multiple times to get those sweet 1 emerald trades. MDK says could you just throw them in a hole with a zombie and boat them out when you're done? Sure, but this thing is really satisfying to watch in action. MDK says as you can see pressing this button sends a minecart off to your villager breeder and brings one back to be trained, while simultaneously moving all of the villagers down the line, and refilling the potion dispensers. MDK says half of them go to infecting stations, the other half are splashed with potions of weakness so you can quickly walk through with your golden apples, and the last villager is sent off to your trading hall. MDK says these first 2 sections of track may need to be adjusted in length and speed depending on the distance to your villager breeder and the distance from your training station respectively. MDK says it may seem unimportant, but if your villagers are not sitting in the correct position on the track they either won't get infected, or will remain in the same station, so you have to get the timing just right. MDK says trust me, dialing this first section in after originally designing it to go along a longer track in my own world has been a real pleasure. MDK says but it's just a matter of trial and error to get the minecart to stop at the peak of the powered rail. MDK says flicking this lever allows you to get rid of villagers with unwanted trades, switching the track to your preferred killing method, and isolating the button from the rest of the system while still picking up another villager. MDK says I've chosen suffocation only to maintain the 3-wide form factor of the design, and have to manually break the minecart, which is then picked up by the hoppers and fed back to the dispenser. MDK says but if you have the space you can do whatever your sadistic heart desires. Let's face it, we all hate villagers. But hopefully the system can alleviate a bit of the struggle. So let's take a look at how it works. MDK says all of the different materials you'll need to use are in this chest, with the exception of the solid blocks and slabs of your choosing. MDK says starting with this button, we power the dispenser sending out a minecart to pick up a new villager. MDK says the dispenser powers the rail and this redstone line leading into the target block which redirects the signal to the torch and sticky piston. MDK says the torch tower powers the rail beneath the chest minecart sending it off to refill our potion dispensers, and the sticky piston pushes the redstone block which powers the rest of the machine. MDK says from this point forward the mechanism is tileable and can be repeated as few or many times as you like. We'll get to the regular piston a little later. MDK says the redstone dust then powers this block which turns on the powered rail and sends the villager to the next station. MDK says the setup you may recognize as an instant repeater. It allows you to continue the initial signal without delay, and is necessary to keep the farm in sync and give the appropriate pulse length to the powered rails. MDK says I've used a target block here to redirect the signal into the instant repeater which would traditionally just be a block, but because we're turning a corner already the block would not be powered. MDK says the target block then powers the sticky piston, pushes the redstone block which powers the redstone dust here. As you can see from the extended piston, there is some bud powering magic happening here that allows the signal to be instant. MDK says the dust then powers the block, which powers the rail sending the villager to the next station. MDK says as the next villager is coming in, the signal goes through this repeater, which is set to 4 ticks, powers the block, turning off the torch, depot-whirring the next block, turning on the next torch and firing the dispenser. MDK says which fires a splash potion of weakness at the zombified villager, which is when you come by with the golden apple. MDK says and from there it's just rinse and repeat as needed. MDK says now for our killing system, this lever powers the block and switches the rail, as well as causing a block update and bud powering the piston thanks to our friend the node block. MDK says he piston then extends blocking the redstone block, because the extended arm of the piston is immovable, effectively severing the circuit from the button to the rest of the machine. MDK says but still allowing it to power the rail, pushing our villager into the killing mechanism and dispense a minecart to pick up a new one, without leaving a villagerless gap and wasting splash potion. MDK says and that's it, you simply repeat the circuit and stations with 2 blocks in between each to allow the villagers to stop at the peak of the next powered rail. MDK says I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, found it useful and informative. Have a good one.